Yesterday, President Trump issued a statement as a rebuttal to a New York Times article that had claimed that Vice President Mike Pence had met with Trump, and Pence had stated that he, Pence, did not have the power to overturn the certified electoral college votes from each state. I don't want to dwell too long on Trump's claims in the statement of election fraud. I think that's kind of like being hashed out, over the last 6-8 weeks fairly in depth. It should suffice that over 50 state and federal lawsuits filed contesting the election, they've gone nowhere. Either because there was no credible evidence, supplied with the when the filing was made, or that the case did not have sufficient legal merit to be heard by the courts in the first place. The example of the Supreme Court of the United States, where, 6-3 advantage of Republican judges, they ruled 9-0 that the case filed by the Texas Attorney General, it had no standing. And 3 of those Supreme Court judges were nominated by Trump. What astounds me is Trump's claim that Pence can decertify the illegal and corrupt results and send them to the House of Representatives for the one vote for one state tabulation. This is completely wrong. And here's why. Beginning at 1 p.m. local Washington, D.C. time today, Pence's role, which in this particular setting for the vote it's largely ceremonial, it's to open up the certificates of the electoral votes from each state and present them to the appointed tellers from the House and Senate in alphabetical order. They read out the electoral vote count, and at the end of the count, Pence, seated on the House of Representatives rostrum, has the task of announcing who has won the majority of votes, both for president and vice president. If a state's vote is challenged by at least one House member and one senator, Pence can call for Congress to meet in their chambers and discuss the validity of the challenge for 2 hours, after which a vote can be held. Quick little kind of like a side note here. When Democrats did this in 2016 regarding Trump's election win, Joe Biden gavelled them down. It's like, this isn't happening, it's silly. But back to the issue here. And the issue that is at stake here, and why this provision was put into the 12th Amendment of the Constitution, and I hope nobody misses the incredible irony here, is to prevent individual state legislatures and Congress from deciding who the next president of the United States should be, and the Constitution is trying to ensure that the will of the people, the voters, prevails. And what Trump is trying to do, while he's claiming to be this great patriot, is completely unconstitutional. Every single state has legally certified their electoral college votes, and thus any challenge to their validity at this point in time, it has no merit, period. The most that Republicans can hope for by challenging legally certified state votes right now, it's a delaying tactic. But probably more likely is the case that they want to maintain the kind of like the support of Trump's supporters for future political gains. It's no surprise to me that Ted Cruz has jumped to the forefront of the dirty dozen Republican senators who have pledged to challenge the certified electoral votes, since he's considered to be a frontrunner for the Republican nomination for president in 2024. And he wants to ride on the coattails of Trump's populist base. Let's face it, Trump still has a 42% approval rating, which is pretty much an overwhelming vast majority of Republican voters. Something which I haven't seen much commentary on are Trump's tweets, that Trump becoming the next president now rests solely in the hands of Mike Pence, and what action Pence takes if he has the courage to do so. All Mike Pence has to do is send them back to the states and we win. Do it, Mike. This is a time for extreme courage. I don't know where to go. This is so underhanded, and a last gasp attempt of Trump's to blame his election loss on anybody and everybody but himself, which is where, in my own opinion, that responsibility lays fairly and squarely on Trump and how he has acted, or in many cases not acted. And we leave it at that. I'm not going to get into that in this video. However, Pence, basically constitutionally, he's unable, he's not authorized to send these electoral votes back to the states. The de facto implication is that because he can't, it's going to be portrayed that Pence lacked the courage to do so, or that he didn't support a second Trump presidency, or that he's a rhino, or he's a Democrat plant, or the communists got, I don't know, whatever the next fake conspiracy theory. What an incredibly disgusting position to put Mike Pence in. It's also possible that as a result of these tweets from Trump supporters will also end up blaming Pence for not stepping up. And, it greatly reduces any kind of presidential aspirations that Mike Pence had, for running for president in 2024. The Trump supporters will remove their support from any candidate in 2024 if they were anti-Trump. Trump doesn't seem to care much for anybody else's careers or ambitions, or for the United States or his party. It's just his own. Him demanding that Pence ignores the Constitution of the United States, it's unconscionable. Trump, at this moment in time, is just a complete and utter tosser. I hope you enjoy the independent and non-partisan perspectives that I strive to present here at Plagued Politics. And if you do, please help support the channel through my Patreon page. To access it, click on the Plagued Politics logo under the video here. Doing so will take you to my YouTube homepage. From there, you can click on the link to my Patreon support page, and there are some neat rewards if you choose to support me. Doing so will help me improve the quality of my content. The equipment, you can probably tell I'm in need of a microphone, professional one, as well as the software, and to be able to dedicate the considerable amount of time and other resources that are needed to create these videos. And please, leave a comment or a criticism down below. It is my genuine goal to try and respond to each and every one of them when possible. Thank you so much for watching, and also for supporting.